Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to be talking about a VTuber who recently lost out on an opportunity and even announced a hiatus as a result of these related events. This is someone who recently had posts discovered where they're saying very racially charged insults as well as directing harassment campaigns against other VTubers. Now, a lot of the Twitter freaks out there, they think that describes me. No, I'm not the one doing those things. It's people like Neralina here. We have talked about this VTuber in the past and even recently for some pretty relevant reasons. And now they are taking a hiatus and they've stepped down from a recent VTuber related event because of the backlash she is facing and the event is facing for allowing her to be a founder of the events. Now, before we get into her statement, which is filled with a lot of misleading information, I just wanted to announce to you guys that my latest Patreon exclusive video is now live as of today. If you want to check out my Patreon and everything on it, I'll put a link to it in the pinned comment. There's bonus content there. We've recently revamped the page. There's a lot of benefits you can get. And at the end of the day, if you want extra content and you want to support me and this channel, this is a great way to do it, and I appreciate the crazy amount of support you guys have provided for this Patreon. But let's jump back into the topic for today. And it all begins with the Onyx Awards. And for lack of a better phrase, it is the Black VTuber Awards. And it's very controversial. Okay, if you look at the post that is promoting it, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of interactions. Some people criticizing it, some people supporting it, and a lot of other people just fighting amongst each other, right? Now, of course, the kind of end result of today's video is going to result with Neralina stepping down as a founder and walking away from this event and announcing a hiatus from VTubing related activities. Now, this happened because people were pointing out some of her very controversial posts. As pointed out here in this reply, they have changed their bio. The Onyx Awards originally had 3 founders listed with their ats, of course, and one of those people was, of course, Neralina. The other 2 individuals, I don't know anything about them, but we're focusing on Neralina for today. And if you look at their account right now, all 3 of the founders are gone. Now, they might claim that's because they're facing harassment, but a lot of people would say that's because Neralina, one of the founders, has had a bunch of very troubling tweets resurface and they're facing backlash because of that, and the event is facing backlash for allowing someone like that to be their founder. So this is the focus right here, and it's an example of another individual that probably would have never been on my radar at any point ever if it wasn't for the fact they tried to go after Kirsche and lead a harassment campaign against her and call her slurs and other stuff, and also disparage me. Many such cases, by the way. But they made this statement yesterday announcing that they are stepping away as one of the founders. They are completely removed from the event and they're going on a hiatus. It's a bit of a longer statement here, so I'm going to break it up into some smaller chunks. Let's begin with the intro. It says, "To all who may or may not know me, hello, I'm Neralina, and I've made some comments in the past in which I would like to give context to." Now, I'm going to spoil this. Comments in the past, most of which have come from, at the most, within a year ago, and some of them within the last couple of weeks. But anyways, they say, "Back in 2025, I made a statement against Kirsche and the wider VTuber fan community as I was facing racial attacks due to a video I made addressing drama tubers and my iris for their actions." Now, that video, I could pull up some clips from that, but I think there's an even more on-point clip from an even more recent video of hers where she's talking about how Black VTubers or minority VTubers respond to what they believe are attacks from not just VTuber fans, but VTubers in general.
And this has been a concurrent event that continuously happens in the VTubing community. A non-Black person will say something controversial or will be racist. Black VTubers see this and speak up about this issue and say it's wrong. And then VTuber fans and sometimes VTubers themselves will then turn to racism to defend their points. It is just so interesting how we are now in a culture where it's normalized to refer to us with such derogatory terms. But as soon as Black people use their voices to speak out against something that they find uncomfortable, then all of a sudden it's a free-for-all and it's okay for y'all to say whatever you think you can say.
So when I say I think a lot of these statements that she's making are misleading, I think she's trying to create this sort of narrative that these rabid VTuber fans are out there and these VTubers are joining in on these racial attacks. But the main focus of this entire thing, the only VTuber name dropped here is Kirsche. And the situation with Kirsche, it didn't have anything to do with something Kirsche said. Kirsche never went after this Narrowlina individual, and yet Narrowlina was the one making posts, harassing her and directing hate towards her and saying some pretty out-of-pocket stuff. And really, this post right here kind of sets up, again, a narrative that doesn't add up when you actually look at the post. And don't worry, we will go through all of them. So here, continuing on in her statement, since I was being called everything between the hard R and the R word, I was driven by heightened emotion and tried to clap back, citing the phrase racist, Nazi, Mayo moon crickets in my tweet. For context, the word moon cricket was historically used against black slaves as a slur to insult those who sang hymns through the night and looked rough. Because of it, and considering that I was already being lamented with derogatory language at this time, I thought going dark woke and fighting back with something equally as inflammatory was the correct response. That is not the case. So, yeah, they're trying to say they were being attacked and they tried to attack back with the same sort of energy. They thought they were getting racist attacks against them, so they tried to be racist in return. They were fighting racism with racism. Probably not a very good idea. But of course, this is all focusing on Kirsche. And the post that she's referring to is not about Kirsche's fans. It's about Kirsche. So when you're saying these things up here, which we'll see in the tweet in just a second, you're calling her a racist with no proof. Slander. You're calling her a Nazi with no proof. Slander. And then you call her a Mayo moon cricket. Slur. You know, like crazy stuff, right? And again, this whole thing is about Kirsche, who gets lumped into like pretty much every situation like this. I try not to talk too much about her, but it seems like we're always intrinsically tied in like every single kind of VTuber related drama or cancellation campaign. But this is the post we're talking about. This was during the whole Gamer Subs campaign where people were trying to get Kirsche removed from Gamer Subs, and there was a massive attempt to have that happen. Sound familiar? Well, it should, based on the last month or so with this channel. But you can see what she said. So much Kirsche hate has been in my timeline recently, and to that I say, keep it going, guys. I love to see those racist Nazi Mayo moon crickets getting dragged to filth. She's talking about Kirsche, not a barrage from fans. She's singling her out by name and saying she deserves all of this and she wants it to keep going. She's not just throwing out these terms that she's directing at Kirsche. She's also directing a harassment campaign against her. Okay? She did not include that in her recent statement. She ignored that part. And of course, in the quotes of the statement here, you have Kirsche pointing out many different things, and we'll get to them, including Narrowlina promoting an article that essentially said you can't be racist against white people, and that basically Narrowlina did nothing wrong. And down here, they also mentioned that she was happy to lose her sponsorship with Advance. That's a very loaded subject right now, as you guys know, but she did lose her Advance sponsorship for those tweets, among others, I believe, at the very least because of the tweet about Kirsche, and she's happy about it. And then they whine and say that this is an example of cancel culture, referring to how Kirsche lost her sponsorship with Crime Boss for no reason whatsoever. But then you have someone saying slurs and directing harassment campaigns, losing a sponsorship, and somehow that is relatable. Like, those are on the same level? Absolutely not, right? But of course, you keep looking through their account. I just keyword searched KK Kirsche. Obviously, we know what they mean by that. And it's like relentless. This was happening over and over again. They were including it in a bunch of tweets and replies to other people. And then in response to the backlash, they say, "Dear VTuber community, I would like to apologize to absolutely nobody. Hell, I apologize to myself for not going harder." Guys, this wasn't a tweet from like 10 years ago. This was a year ago. This was in 2025. And they continue on saying, "My words come up from a pure hatred of bigots. KK Kirsche and her fans can keep crying. What do y'all say again? Cope and sieve?" And then they continue on sharing that they lost their sponsor with Advanced. And down here they say, "I just learned that Rev is sponsored by Advanced. Thank goodness they dropped me, bro. Holy S. I didn't know they were working with that stinker." Which, by the way, if you worked with Advanced at the time, I cannot understand for the life of me how you didn't know I worked with the company. Like, I wasn't some like random affiliate who just had like a code. Like, I was like, you know, prominently featured a lot on their website, among other things. But moot point, I'm not with them anymore. They dropped me as well. I guess we have that in common. Niralina and me, we are both former Advanced partners, or I don't know if she was an affiliate or whatever, but you get my point. But it goes further. Okay, so back in June, now we're talking like a full month later, someone pointed out her previous comments under a post where she was trying to virtue signal about racism not being acceptable, and she said, "Don't care," with a burning cigarette. And then, back in my whole campaign with Advanced dropping me, she tried to jump in on the brigade, saying they dropped my sponsorship at the drop of a hat, but continued to platform Rev after harassing me. So obviously we all know the reason that happened. It was, I can almost 100% say it was the tweet where you said slurs and directed a harassment campaign against someone else. And me, at the time, making a video just showing your public tweets and not even asking for punishment. That's not harassment. I'm allowed to talk about people. I'm allowed to criticize people. That's fully within my right. But they were trying to join in. You can see a proposed note. It doesn't matter at this point. This stuff kind of is like over. But then again, in the same thread, they try to say racism equals reclaiming and jokingly using a slur that was historically used against black people. Y'all can call me whatever, blah, blah, blah. Bunch of bad stuff. But forbid a black person makes their own dark woke own. So they use that whole dark woke thing in their statement from yesterday, and they're still using the dark woke own thing in January of this year, on the 28th, 3 weeks ago. And then they got absolutely ratioed into oblivion right there. But, you know, when we're like reclaiming things, I guess that's the claim. You have someone citing what they said back in May. They also added in another one saying, "We bringing back shiny new insults for those palm-colored semen demons." Okay, is that dark woke too? Like, I don't know. Am I missing something? What are we doing? Does anyone that you think are these awful, terrible people say anything even remotely close to this stuff? Like, I feel like I needed to get out like a dictionary or a thesaurus or something to try to find out what's going on here with these terms. But let's continue with the statements. They say, "My past actions have caused a great deal of grief, harassment, and abuse towards my mutuals, colleagues, and friends, and I cannot sit idly by without properly addressing it anymore. I apologize for my actions, my words, and my lack of acknowledgement towards the situation as a whole. I thought that I could ego my way through the hate, understandable, and simply move on. But after seeing the people I cherish around me getting attacked and unjustly targeted, I knew it was time to say something. I have not used or vowed to never use such shameful language regardless of the context again. Well, I guess we will hold you to that, but based on the mocking tone to anyone bringing it up as recent as a few weeks ago, I think people have their doubts. But here is the second part of the statement. I'm just going to read through it. It's pretty self-explanatory. They say, trying to bite back regardless of my justifications with such language is not okay. It's not who I want to be, nor is the type of person I want to present as. I now understand that in order to have opinions I must lead by example and not stoop to the level of those who hurt me. With that said, I have decided to formally and officially step away from the Onyx Awards as a founder and staff member to aid in my extended hiatus. This decision is my choice. It has not been influenced by anyone inside or outside of the events. I want to take this time to focus on my physical and mental health, my family and friends, and my education. I have a lot of other things going on outside of VTubing that are way bigger than me, and I feel like the best course of action is to step away entirely and prioritize myself. It's been an honor and privilege to be part of such a tremendous adventure, and I trust everyone to bring this beautiful thing to fruition. Now, if they do have other things going on in real life, go for it. Like, seriously. I don't like to prey on someone's downfall. I disagree heavily with some of the things this person has said. I think it's been pretty hateful, and I even think some of the things in this apology has been misleading about the depth of where all of this goes. But if this person has something good going on in their life, pursue that. Like, make something of it. Like, this stuff, like, I don't think it's great for a lot of people's mental health, and it can't be worth it at this point. So if you got good things going on in your life, like, unironically, I hope it works out really well for you. I know. I'm not joking. 100% serious. And I think that advice could work with a lot of people. I think a lot of people maybe need to take a step back, whether that's touching grass or finding some good things, good influences in your life that don't require you to be angry on Twitter all day and nights and not even get that much out of it, right? But the quotes were going after them, saying basically a hiatus after not streaming for 2 months. I checked. Basically it's been a bit, right? Like, let me see here. Their last one was like in December, so like I don't think it's like a big gigantic announcement. This person says you attacked Kirsche, called her a racial slur, and then tried to get her sponsors to drop her. F out of here with your victim mentality. And then Banana Juju, another person getting featured all the time. She gets tied into everything too. She said, harassment do be crazy. I know. I still remember what you said about me. You're not the victim. You were the bully. And, I think sometimes maybe like an apology is in order because, this was her response. Girl F you. When Banana Juju thanked Asmongold for defending her because she was getting brigaded, dogpiled, if you will, because of her hairstyle, because she has dreads on a fair-skinned model that is based on her real-life appearance. And Nerolina jumped in and gave, obviously, a sterling criticism just saying F you. And then in the replies of that same tweet saying, these women get one lick of pushback and they immediately jump into the arms of a man who made racist remarks about Palestinians and is violently transphobic. Genuinely F you. Yeah, getting a little bit of pushback and immediately jumping away. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's video. Make sure to check out my Patreon. Come on and join. The water's fine, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of good stuff coming. I really appreciate everyone who's been joining up. Got big plans. Check out the new video. We're going to talk about some of the lawsuits, the Ms. Kiff stuff, and we're going to do some reacting and also some other situations going on that somehow got intrinsically tied into that as well. I think you guys will enjoy it. So check out the link in the pinned comment and description. But that's going to do it for today's video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.